of Malt Magic Unrolled. Now, usually, Malt Magic Unrolled is an exclusive for our Patreon members. But given that we've just finished Campaign 2, we thought it was about time we did a live and extended version for you guys on Twitch. But don't worry, there will still be adult language, and there will still be adult humour even. The most important thing for me to say is, roll the titles.
Seamless. Absolutely seamless.
I think I was at varying stages of mutes there, people, so sorry about that.
Professional, we are. All ranges of it all. Yeah.
You can tell that the campaign is over and we are now just in pure chill celebration mode. Like, let's have a nice chat. Nothing needs to be perfect. And yeah, I've had graphics card issues. Danny's had mic issues. Bodhi couldn't find his webcam.
I'm not wearing trousers.
We're going to have a good start. That's fairly standard, though, for a Monday night, I believe.
Classic. It's hot up in this attic.
Yeah, it is. How are we all feeling anyway? That's going to be my first question for anyone, because obviously last week was a big emotional kick to the bollocks, I think.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good description of what it was. No, it was really good, actually. I think it was as cathartic as it was sad that it was over. The fact that we were able to pick what happened with our characters, I think, was absolutely incredible. Of course, seeing other people's storylines was very emotional because, of course, none of us knew what they were. And of course, with Bodhi's at the last, very emotional for the whole thing, but was really, really nice, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think if I was to compare the two whole campaigns that I've done in my life, so I've only got two reference points, right? But the first time we did the epilogue for Campaign 1, I felt like, in hindsight now, I didn't do it properly. I hadn't fleshed it out enough as I had with this one in terms of like immediate steps, medium term, long term, and potentially the character's death, which I hadn't considered. This time we did it, I had more of a fleshed out plan, and then I tweaked it on the fly when I heard some of the stuff you guys were doing, and I feel like I got more closure. Maybe because Lex died, that's probably why I got more closure, in the sense of closing the chapter of the story in my mind. Whereas my Campaign 1 character is still out there somewhere alive. He's not going to be by the time Campaign 3 happens because of the time jump. But do you know what I mean? There's always that open-endedness about it. Whereas this one, I feel like I've proper ended the chapter. And then with Bodhi's emotional bit at the end, him narrating how he watched us do all the bits after he died and we'd forgotten him. And then Matt did the emotional goodbye to everyone. I was like, I'm never going to emotionally recover from this. I was doing all right. I was doing all right for all of the deaths because I didn't have to make eye contact with everybody. I was just watching myself do the words, like, don't look at anybody. And then you two did your bits, and I was like, you bastards. You've gone.
Lex's passing was tough. That was very hard for me to sort of be dual for that. So, yeah.
And luckily I died first because then I didn't have to react to any of your deaths.
That was one of my hardest decisions, was who goes first in the series of deaths, because obviously Suri could still exist.
Yeah.
Edgious is not here. We got Cavan to fit in there. But then between Jewel and Lex, who goes first? So I tossed a coin in the end, to be really honest.
To be honest, I think it worked well because I think, not that this is like a given result, but I would have said that Jewel was younger. So I just would have said that, therefore.
Yeah. Well, she was younger.
Yeah. So
and statistically, the husband always dies first. That's not a slight on wives. It's just,
Not that we thought it was, but now I do.
Go on, Bodes.
Do you know what? I'm not sure. Sorry, I can't remember which one of you just said it, Dave or Danny. it was one of the, like, I feel like typically I'm pretty good at staying in character when I need to be. I feel like I can hit those kind of marks of being in my character and thinking like my character and doing that kind of stuff pretty well in most sessions. But as soon as Matt killed Lex, dude, I was done. Like, I stopped being Edgious, and I started just like trying to survive the next fucking. I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, we've got fucking 40 minutes left. Like, I'm in fucking trouble right now, fellas. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm sweating already. I've drank all my water that I have around me, and it's just leaking from my face profusely.
The main thing I kept forgetting actually was Lex's voice. I don't know why, but the last few episodes, I got so into thinking about what I was going to do and say that the accent left me. And I was like, it's gone too far now. There's no point trying to get it back. Just carry on talking the sentence you're talking.
Yeah. Dude, I think for me as well, that's the first campaign I've taken to fruition as a player. I've done lots as GMs, but I've never done it as a player. And I think, I wrote a skit that I'm going to launch on my channel probably in the next few weeks about just like the pain that comes with seeing a character die, like the sheer pain and like, just it's like pain and pleasure. It's like, someone who enjoys self-harming. It's pure, like, just the saddest thing that can happen, but also, like Dave said, super cathartic, very just moving. And I think the way it tied up for everybody felt really, really natural and really, really good. And I don't know, I loved it. I came away from that session. And went into my wife and I was like, I'm kind of like, sad, but also happy. And I was just like, please ask me about how it went. Like, please, I have so much to say.
I need the therapy now. Just like,
yeah, exactly.
Everyone was asleep when we had finished, so I had nobody to debrief an epilogue with.
Yeah, me both. I went and watched, I lay in bed watching sort of the last half an hour or so of the show, essentially, where we closed, and all those moments, just because I wanted to relive it as an observer, as opposed to sort of having to be on point to continue any of those moments. And it just came together beautifully, I think, at the end. All of it, everybody changed something in the moment. So from what I'd collected from all of you and what we planned, everybody in the moment bounced off each other, and there was just subtle things that changed but made it beautiful, I think, in the end.
Yeah, like, I knew that I did know what Lex was, partly what Lex wanted to do. But I loved the way that, Danny, you played that Lex was like, cool, this isn't over, I'm going to go. And obviously I looked over at Bodhi at one point because I tried to play it really well as, like, Jules really surprised and like, oh, fuck. And Bodhi was just gone.
Mate, dude, also when Jewel and Lex were splitting up, I was like, what the fuck is happening right now, guys? I was like, how are we dividing the party at the last set? Like, we've been doing this all campaign for Matt, and we're gonna keep this shit up in the epilogue.
But then I changed, and I was like, actually, it'd be great if you could come with me. How it panned out, I liked how we changed that.
I agree.
It's been a hell of a journey to get to it.
And that was the point. I think in that way it worked really well, and we were able to, because of Lex still had that lot of thing, and that was for me as well. I found it quite funny, really, that Jules' part of this campaign is kind of like, I don't know, you go and watch a prequel movie where that so much shit's going on afterwards because you've already seen it because you've watched those movies, and then you watch a prequel movie, and that's what campaign 2 was for Jewel, because actually the amount of stuff that I chose to, and Matt very graciously was like, yeah, sure, that I could say she did, was like, that's a whole thing in itself. Like, that's almost like at the end of campaign 2 is where a character could start. And that was really nice.
Dave, I was about to say, like, two things that are really interesting to me. One is, I would love for us at some point to do a mini arc where we play those same characters. I won't play Edgious, obviously, I'll play someone else. But, like, we play, you guys reprise Lex and Jewel. Some were like, I was imagining like a fucking your guys' wedding or whatever that gets like somehow rumbled and thrown into chaos, and it's like, you know, but it's further on from when we ended campaign 2, and that would just be such a fun little arc for us to explore.
That is, you know? What is nice is going back to what Danny said. We did say what happened to our characters in campaign 1, but we left them alive. And that did always make me think that I was like, oh, it would be, you know, great to like go back in a different realm. The weird thing is it now feels different to also say, as much as we've killed our characters off, we could be like you just said, we go back and they've moved on 15, 20 years or something. They've got her, you know, Jules got her massive archive library hidden in nowhere, and someone comes to steal something, and, you know, they don't expect the fact that she's going to beat the absolute living shit out of them out of nowhere, because these are just bandits who are just told to just go and grab something. Those are the fun things that we can do. We know how they all die, but everything in the middle could be a one-shot.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the difference between campaign 1 and campaign 2 is like we did give the campaign 1 characters an ending at the end.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, this is what happens when they die. But we then went into campaign 2 saying, okay, only 30 years have passed. Now, we already have discussed this behind the scenes, and spoiler alert, folks, but we've said for campaign 3 we're going 250, 350 years into the future. So these characters, for all wants and purposes, apart from maybe Suri, are gone. Like, their mortal lives have ended. Doesn't mean their legacies don't continue.
No, their legacies don't, but also hopefully the knowledge of them is also very murky. It's not like, oh yeah, we knew them. It's going to be, what group did something a couple of years ago? Like, if you were able to ask, like, you know, real life people and go, okay, this group that happened 200-300 years ago, it'd be only if it came up in a history lesson. That's the type of thing that we're going to have to go.
Yeah,
that's how far away it is.
How Americans look at the founding fathers, or
yes,
Edgar Hoover did the Hoover Dam and Roosevelt did the FBI. That's like the extent of what they'll know about Lex and Jewel and Edgious and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're like, oh, well, they did other stuff. That's weird. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, you know, maybe they're like, what? Close a what? So yeah.
Do you know what I would love to as well, Dave? Because you also said, you know, this was kind of a prequel for Jewel, which is really interesting. I was going to say this to Matt, like on a side note in a message, but something that I thought added a lot to our characters, and it's something I would love for us to maybe explore again for campaign 3, would be those origin story episodes. Mm-hmm. You know, those origin story one shots, and I would love to have, you know, I know for my one I had you and Danny. I would love if we were all a part of those origin stories, playing NPCs that are relevant to us now, you know, in the main campaign and shit like that. I think, you know, there's so much to explore there. I know with my campaign 3 backstory, I have like a particular thing that I would love to play out. And I think, you know, you guys taking on some of those roles that would be a part of that would be amazing. So I don't know. For me, I thought those added a lot to all of our... Like, it's one thing having your backstory on paper, but then getting to actually play it out and, like, live through the shit and then bring that same energy now into the sessions from then onwards felt really different and really cool. So I was like, we should maybe do that again.
It changed the characters mid-campaign as well.
Oh,
there was things that we did 100%. In those origins which refactored some of the campaign, some of the character moments. So go on, Danny.
All I was going to say was they were born out of scheduling conflicts, but actually they ended up being really cool and integral to how I then played Lex going forward, and characters that I brought in, like Axel, who I brought in the epilogue, was a character from my origin story. But also, I think they added more to my knowledge of who Lex was than any session 0 would have done as well.
Agreed.
Because I never flesh out my backstories too much. I famously underprepare my backstories because I like to then make it up as the story progresses. Like, you go, oh, what happened when you were 12? And I'll go, well, actually, I lost my foot in a hunting accident. I never prepared that. I just say things off the cuff and then that becomes canon. But those origin stories help me flesh out my backstory more, because I feel like if I try and do it, sometimes I get caught in cliches if I'm just trying it on my own, making it up. If I'm acting it out and RPing it, I feel like I get a better backstory for my character in hindsight.
I agree.
Yeah, totally. And I think therefore that's why those origin stories really help, because as you say, we can also, and I think, all think of our origin stories, then come in and session 1 or session 0 and be like, right, this is how we do it, and it doesn't fit at all. And you're like, fuck, I need to kind of rewrite that. So it's better to actually do the origin stories where we kind of know our characters after X number of episodes and be like, right, now we can do the origin story, because now we can actually say, actually, no, I wasn't scarred because I was betrayed by a lover. It's like, no, that doesn't fit anymore. And actually just go, fine, then let's change it. You know, they're early enough on. So yeah, no, I completely agree. I loved it. I tell you what, I loved playing Axel for Lex's origin story. It was really quite cool because of I don't remember whether this was like something that was meant to happen, but it was like that Axel was very clockwork, and then almost Lex, you know, they both sort of left their mark on each other. So
that's who I learnt my emotional range from. Originally.
Despite Axel being a circle of clockwork druid, which is awesome. Yeah,
it was good fun. That was very good
stuff. So yeah, I mean, I still have in the back of my mind even, to do the origin stories, but I kind of want to do something similar again, where we introduce the characters and people get to know who they are, and then we go, and this is why they are the way they are. And so you bring it back after we've done maybe the first arc or the second arc. Or
I do think origin stories only work once you've got an emotional investment.
Yeah.
And the audience have a bit more of an investment in the character as well.
Do you know what would be a fun plot twist? Is if, Matt, before the origin story session, you tell all the other players that it's origin story and you tell them who they're going to be, but don't tell the person whose origin story it is, and fucking spring it on them as like a flashback during like what you're like, you know, we go back into session, flashback, and then everyone, because then that person is having to fucking, you know, go with the vibe and feel it while everyone else is prepared and, you know, throwing bits at them. That might be fun. And also it'd be fun to fucking just surprise everyone with shit, you know?
Yeah, only works so far when you're streaming and you have to sort of then do social media posts, but I get what you mean, boats.
Yeah, true.
I can at least drop it on you a couple of days beforehand, but still.
True.
But no, I love that idea. Even then, we can still have that, because I think I did that for the origin stories this time, where at the beginning, we were in the moment in the main campaign, and then all of a sudden, so I think Cavan was underneath in the Citadel of Sin at the time, and suddenly had a flashback to that exact place, but so many years earlier when he was a kid.
Yeah, because you did use our origin stories for moments during the normal campaign where you're like, you get a memory of, or you're reminded of, hark back to origin story. That was cool. I think it'd be good to do the origins in person.
We've all just been like, okay, sold.
We do D&D, because we can do everyone's origins all in one.
D&D. Yeah. There we go. We record that in one weekend. Let's do it.
That's officially sorted.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Right.
I'm about it.
Yeah.
Scheduling gods will be like, no, you fucking won't.
That's going to have to be an early 2027 job.
It really is.
Start planning it now for early 29. Yeah.
Good stuff. Shall we? Because I know we've done recap episodes up to sort of like an episode 112, I think it is. So I think it might be worth us just recapping what happened in those last, 8 episodes, 18 episodes, what a dick. 8 episodes. Can't do maths even now when I'm not GMing. So 8 or so episodes to sort of just talk through that process, because I think we came out of we'd sort of just finished the Elemental Seal arc, if I remember rightly, and then going into sort of our let's go wipe out the Triumvirate and let's find all these
last piece, hadn't we?
figures.
Yeah.
So you got your last piece. I think you'd taken out. In fact, no, you'd sort of had the Leora and Callum moment.
It was Kedmir, wasn't it? Where we absolutely decimated Kedmir.
He absolutely did decimate.
Yeah. I do feel a little bit bad about that.
Oh no, as
Do
a
you
peek behind
really?
the curtain, right? You know, there were some nice touches that I put in that I was hoping Matt would take or leave it, but he did take some of them. And when Union City became Union State, I wanted to build those bridges and it become like like a UN or, that sort of vibe where everything's negotiated. And I did want to include Cadmere in that to build those bridges, mainly for my own personal forgiveness. But what I liked actually is Matt went, no, they're going to board themselves off. They're going to become North Korea, and it's going to be fucking horrible for whoever tries to enter. So that I actually preferred what you did compared to my idea, Matt.
Yeah, it was that moment of you guys arrived, royally screwed the place. Like, you talk about screwing the pooch, you properly screwed the pooch. Killed most of the royal family that were in that hunting lodge at the top.
I hate to drop Steve in it, but Suri did. Like, we just came in and just did that. And
none of you stopped him in the moment.
Oh, 100%. We are all culpable, but it was 100%. We were like, wow, that's crazy.
Guilty by
How many people are... Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
He's very much out of sight, out of mind. I can't see anybody up there, so he's just, he's just created a bit of rain up at the top of the hill. Nope.
Absolutely.
Genocide.
But it was Suri in the moment. It's absolutely what Suri is, and it wasn't full genocide. It's just most of the they were corrupted at this point anyway, sneak behind the scenes sort of thing. But the royal family was decimated. What that did allow was for Ottoman to have his moment and step up as that sort of last son of Regman and stuff like that, and became then the de facto leader. But in order to do that, had to sort of make compromises, which was he would keep personal tabs on all of you where he could, but the kingdom wanted nothing to do with the Ardalian Detective Agency.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, I think that was just before we did that. Go on, Boats.
It wasn't genocide because they were all corrupt anyway.
Well, no. What I mean was, it was just the royal family. Genocide would have been the whole city.
What I'm saying is, there wasn't enough people to be genocide. It was just mass murder.
Mass murder, I'll allow. Absolutely mass murder. And they knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a nice twist as well. I thought Matt, you pulling that in there was I think
shows consequences. That's the whole thing, because we don't, as you said, we want it to be that we rebuild bridges, because we always want it to be that, and it all works out well. I love the fact that it hasn't, and therefore, if in campaign 3 we have to go there, that it's going to be, I don't know, tough. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird. We're not going to understand how to be there. We're going to get into trouble because we step on a leaf. I don't know, and that's the fun thing about it.
Yeah, I kill somebody's uncle.
I agree. I think there needs to be consequences, and I think, do you know what? Actually, and shout out to Steve, even though he's not here. I think the consequences of Suri making friends and then leaving to be lonely once again because he couldn't watch you guys die was possibly actually one of my favorite parts of the epilogue. It hit so hard, and the consequences, hilariously, the consequences of a positive thing for Suri's character ended up being this like horribly, like not negative, but like sad fucking ending for him that I was like not expecting when Steve started throwing that out there.
Yeah, it hit a day later for me. I was like, almost like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's just because he doesn't know what to do with, an elf who lives forever. And then I went, oh, no, I get this, because it is that I can't watch this. Like, even if he gets 40 years of happiness, that still makes it worse. So he's like, I cut the ties now. Like, I can't see this. So, and it really does bring into that, if you're playing an elf and you're not well connected to elvish customs and community, you do have to play that. This is a second in my life, this whole campaign.
Yeah.
And you have to actually take that perspective of like almost that cold-heartedness of going, lovely guys, well done, we've done it, bye.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
You know what, I think for me as well, I've loved Lord of the Rings since I was a child, and more recently there's a TV, an anime called Free Ren that is about an elf who, post saving the world, she goes and finds her new adventure, but part of that is retracing the steps that her and her adventuring party took because she realizes that she actually misses them. Anyway, Steve's ending made me appreciate like Arwen from Lord of the Rings so fucking much. Like, it made me appreciate Freeren so much, because don't get me wrong, I'd always loved those concepts, but I'd never put too much depth of thought into, like, you know, Arwen choosing to not go to the Grey Havens and stay back with Aragon, and you know, that investment that she took of like just growing old and watching the person she loved die. And Steve doing what he did just made me appreciate a lot of pop culture that I've seen about elves and things that I've enjoyed throughout my life. And it comes down to his great decisions and really good play of it, honestly. I thought he played it.
It does make me wonder, no spoilers here because I'll forget it by the time I actually play one. If I ever played an elf, maybe I would actually look for that, similar to Lord of the Rings, where it's like you can forego your immortality. Something that's like, maybe that's even a search. Maybe that's even like their arc, their quest of going, I'm 900 years old. I don't just want to die, but can I cut this? Can I grow old? You know, and being like, I would like to find a place that will then like allow me to then age naturally with the people around me. Would be such a heartwarming like quest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it also explains why the elves are stereotypically standoffish and appear snooty, but it's actually outside of their community. They don't want to make close bonds because they're just going to watch them die.
Yeah.
Well, it's got morbid. But to be fair, this whole campaign,
it really did.
The last 8 episodes we have just spent killing stuff. So
it's
well,
D&D.
you did.
What do you expect?
I pulled up the episode list just so I could remind myself as well. So we just finished off Mayanora, which I've put in that way so you can decide how that goes. But yeah, sort of Mayanora returned to dust, and then it was immediately to Rosendum, wasn't it? So you back to the Bastion, into Rosendum, and then there was that sort of 2-episode arc where it was from get into Rosendum, figure out what the fuck we need to do, to then there's Klein. Let's take him out. It was Bodhi's return from his travels for a night, and that was the moment. That was when Edgious was...
Boring episode, nothing really happened.
Terrible episode, wasn't it?
You fucking bastard! I put my heart into that, Dave!
But yeah, I think that was...
that day.
Yeah, no, it was one hell of an exit. It's just...
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the first, I think, proper... I think towards the end of the campaign, it was the first moment where everybody went, "Oh fuck, this is getting real now."
It was a gut punch. It was getting real. It was a buckle in fuckers kind of. Everything before that was like, "Oh, this is intense," and then that was it. That was it.
The shit just got real, like in Bad Boys 2. Yeah, but I do think because death isn't finality really in D&D. Hence, like, Jules died a few times. Everyone's sort of come on the cusp and dipped in and out of 0 hit points and stuff. When you actually have a real brush with mortality, or a character dies in a way that you can do nothing about, that's when, like, it proper hits for me. And then I'm like, oh, it makes me even more invested, because you take it, you don't really take it seriously. You think, oh, I'm going down to 0 hit points. But when you were like, I'm erased from existence, I was like, you what? You can't do that.
It did also.
I've got a revivify spell.
That extra step of us not knowing was also a real curveball for us. Of that, this is what true improv is, because none of us were expecting it, and therefore we're like, I don't even know how we need to react right now.
the amount of messages I got after that was, so how do we bring him back? Which is along those lines, or I've got this, can we do that? And my answer was just like, nope.
He gone.
Done.
He gone.
Done.
He gone.
Do you know what I think, honestly, with that moment? I think, because we've done a lot of stuff, in both of my arcs that I've run for you guys, we've had a lot of people die, and I know you guys have had some character deaths in campaign 1 and things like that. Yes, exactly. I love death. I'm a necrophiliac. Let's get it out on the table and move forward. So
that took a turn.
Sure. Well,
open showcase you on
it. We got him. So
what's the safe word? Bazinga. Crap.
You just activated me, Dave. I'm like a sleeper cell. So I think it was one of those moments where I knew that it was going to end for me earlier than the campaign. I'd known for like a really, really long time that that's what I was going to do. I knew that when I met Klein, I knew that I was going to kill myself. And it wasn't a case of like, I'm here to sacrifice myself to protect you guys or anything like that. I just knew that the arc for Edgious had always been, him trying to die and him wanting to also relieve himself of the like burden that he carried. And so I was really glad to do that. But also I hope, like, not that I'm saying I want more characters to die in the middle of the campaign going forward, but I think it does open that door to it. Like you said, it locks. Danny's getting locked in. We're feeling confused. Like it's making it more emotional. Shit. If more of that comes about, I'm about it as well. I want to be on the other side of it.
As we haven't had it happen like much before. So basically, only Edgious out of 2 whole campaigns. For Danny and I am interested as to how that dynamic hits, because rolling back the curtain, fourth walling this, you can, in D&D just be like, my character's not working, I would like another one, and therefore you can go, do you know what, I want to go out. That's one way. Another way is an actual like character death where it's like, we're told by the DM, these are high stakes. You are in danger, which I think is basically going to be the general premise of the entirety of Campaign 3. And that's going to be really interesting. We're hopefully not going to be overly cautious, and I think this group can't be. I don't think we have the ability to be. Red buttons do be pressing. We're going to find out potentially, like, can it be a story progression to have a character death? And for us all to be like, we're not happy, at peace with the fact that this could happen. And I think that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. And we know it's going to get gritty for Campaign 3. But it's a valid point. I think we've never really... And it's just not a problem with D&D, but it's, especially when you get to the higher levels, the idea of character death becomes a lot less of a thing because there's all this magic in the world. So again, Campaign 3, magic's going to be significantly reduced. There's going to be a lot more consequences involved. So we are building up to it. I feel like we've had Campaign 1, get used to D&D. Campaign 2, start to build on the mechanics and start to see these different things come into play. And I think we've all now got to the stage where we know the third campaign that we want to play, and we've agreed it together. So I think, Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 have very much shaped our thinking, sort of Malt and Magic. But at Campaign 2, then with the likes of Steve and Bodhi as well around as a group, this is where we want to head, this is what we enjoy, this is what we're going to go and do. I am looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it.
And I like to think it's... Speaking on behalf of the audience, let me know in chat if you disagree. I like to think it brings the audience in a bit more. So, like when Bodhi died, not to compare it to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, but like in Game of Thrones when they would just kill off a main character and you're like, what the fuck have they just done? And you're like, I can't wait to see what happens next. That sort of jeopardy of if a main character can be erased from existence like that, what the fuck are they going to do with the rest of the characters? If I was the audience, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, what are they going to do next? Because there is that more, say, finality about it. Yeah, that was our version of the Red Wedding. I'm going to go that far. You're welcome.
I agree. I agree with you, Danny. Like, I think there's something that I hate about plot armor in any like fantasy book or movie or fucking anything like that, or fuck it, any media generally where fucking characters have plot armor and they just can't fucking die. And we know that Harry Potter's gonna get to the fucking end, and we know that Frodo's gonna take the ring. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels very unlikely that anyone's gonna die, and I think I agree with you. It's one of the reasons why I think Game of Thrones was so popular, and I think
it very well
it's
probably
something
was,
that we want to capture. Yeah, it's something we might want to capture for Campaign 3. Maybe, again, maybe there's more conversations behind the scenes with Matt about, look, dude, like, actually, we're a third in, and killing one of us off here would actually make this story a whole lot more interesting. And with the vehicle of a monster hunting guild, you can slot another person onto the team very easily. Like, that doesn't, the setup for it doesn't need to be like, oh, we meet you somewhere and it happens that our motives align. Our motives are already aligned. We're already working for the same organization.
It's so easy to be aligned when it's we work for money. That's incredibly easy, and yet there will be so many more things behind it in our backstories and everything. Now, what I do like about it is, both it may well not even be that we have to like make the decision of like, oh, maybe at this point we need to kill someone off. I think every episode there will be a risk, and a higher risk than has been there before. That it will be like, no, you can't short rest here. Yes, things are serious, and yes, you are going up against things you shouldn't be. I think they are going to be like the constant things of, you can play this like a puzzle, or you can get into a fight you really shouldn't, and you're going to have to pay the consequences.
I think we could do it also with a level of secrecy. And Matt, I know you sent us the homebrew rules list. I'm not sure if this was on there. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it might be things like doing, saving throws completely in secret. So the only the GM knows whether you survived. The party has to then
we have talked about that,
or that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, we've talked about that, and we nearly brought it into campaign 2, but again, not really many of us got to death saving throws. But I'm 100% on board on the roll and don't tell anyone but the DM. I really like that idea.
It puts a pressure on it. Usually, if you're like, oh, he got a success, or he rolled a nat 20 and got 2 successes, we've got a couple turns to burn here. It's all good. Like, we don't need to worry immediately. Where no one knows, it's like, fucking cool. Let's go, guys. We need to help them, or they might already be dead.
The other thing that we could do, and you probably can't do this as much, you probably do go with it's death saving throws, is, someone can get hit to the floor, like maybe it's even like they go prone because they've been knocked prone. Do you know that they've gone unconscious? You might not know that. I don't know whether that's realistic in D&D, but do you know what I mean? It's something to thought.
Could even be removing saving throws at a certain level. We could get to like level 5 or 10, and Matt be like, "Cool guys, if you go down to 0, that's it." Like, because I
think it's a mechanic that's there for a reason. It can be RP'd out better, like you're conscious and bleeding out. And it's like, come help, you've got 3 rounds. I think it's still a useful mechanic, but I like the secrecy behind that option. It's a thought.
I think there's also got to be a balance to it as well, because how campaign 3 will be, we don't want to be rolling new characters every arc, but the chances of us going into an arc with a new character is higher than it was previously.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a backup character. I did not for campaign 2. I currently have a backup character prepared for campaign 3.
It's worth it for campaign 3, having a backup character, especially as we're starting low level again. Like, the stakes are a lot higher when you're that lower level.
I think starting low level, I suddenly feel like I need to have 2 backup characters.
Danny's going
My
from
track record.
200 HP, I think it was by the end, down to
7.
next to fuck all. Yeah.
I do love that early campaign, or especially going from that end to the start again, when it's like, you're going, oh fuck, I only hit for like 3 hit points. You're like, yeah, you have 7, so shut the fuck up.
Squishy little buggers we will be. Squishy little buggers.
So squishy, yeah.
As much as I do love talking about campaign 3, this is a campaign 2 celebration.
Yes, true.
Let's bring it back.
Bring it back, Danny.
Well done.
I'm bringing us back on track, so you know it's bad.
No, it's valid as well. So cool. Recap. Where do we get to? Yeah. So there was the Edgious moment, which sent us down the C3 route, I think. But obviously that took out, or is the first member of the triumvirate that you took out as a party. Obviously, Leora was taken out by Callum. You didn't know at the time. That was a bit of an epilogue. And immediately at that point, Vane started to sort of exert his presence. You had the whole moment with the Eclipse Sigil finally forming as well. And what I loved there is, in writing the Eclipse Sigil, the idea was that one person takes on the mantle of carrying it. And you guys went, fuck that, we're all having it.
Which didn't feel weird.
Fashion.
Like, it actually didn't feel weird. It felt right.
Yeah.
There was like, well, yes, of course, all three of us had to. And I hope that does line into the story of, therefore, that's why it was different. Why it is been run not by one singular consciousness of the closer. It was, shared.
I think it helped remove any main character energy is probably the wrong word, but a weighted focal point on one character more than
spearhead
another.
of some kind.
Yeah, so I think it helped even out everyone's spotlight for one. Matt pointed it out, but it's worth reiterating that it was actually a nice symmetry to have the Dark Triumvirate, and then we were like the Triumvirate of Salvation or whatever we were. Like the three versus the three. I think we didn't do that on purpose, but it accidentally played out really well as if we had done it on purpose.
It was poetry. It was poetry.
And it also threw Matt through a loop, and it added extra RP stuff in ammo for us as well. So I think it's always worth it when you get those two Brucey bonuses.
It did, because it then brought up something we'll go into later, and that was when we had to make a choice, because that was a very interesting moment. Because all three of us were going to make different choices, kind of. So we'll come to that, because that is right at the end.
Yeah, it is. It was that bit where... Go on.
I was going to say the battle with Vane is worth spending some time on, because that was fun.
Yeah, and that was after we got the Eclipse Sigil. It was kind of, now we're in this moment, you'd use the orrery essentially to forge it, and at that point Vane saw his moment to try and steal it for the Shrouded Lord. So there was all sorts of things that came into that fight.
I liked the chase and escape element.
Bless you.
Yeah.
I don't know what that noise was, but it obviously was applauding something I'd said. I liked the fact that I thought he would just try and kill us all, and I thought he probably could. The fact that he tried to leg it, I was like, oh, I didn't see this come in. I've got to fucking submit my eyeball. And I liked that because we then had to chase him down to kill him and stop him. And I'm like, Jules, the only one who could do it. We didn't have any magic we'd all used our resources and stuff as well. And ironically, we'd just become arguably more powerful with the sigil, but then we'd also lost the powers that we had from having the individual codex pieces, and we were still didn't know we had the sigil powers to use, and we didn't want to waste those resources, obviously, as a character, fourth walling it. So it was a weird thing where we'd become more powerful, but I felt less powerful to be able to stop him.
It's a very good description.
Well,
100%.
Yeah. And you had new tools, but you're right on the resources bit. We had stretched, I had stretched you very much to that point where you'd gone from the fight with Klein through to a few other bits. Random sound effects coming from everywhere tonight. Through to then chasing Vane Shadowthorn. And you'd not seen Vane Shadowthorn in almost 100 episodes, essentially. Like, it had been most of the campaign. He'd been very much operating in the background. So to have that moment of, he's going to fuck off.
Was he that powerful at the start? So when we first met him?
At the start of the campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was. You didn't level him up with us. He was that level always.
So the Dark Triumvirate were always as powerful as they were, apart from the origin episode of Klein.
Yeah. And I suppose Callum, who usurped them eventually.
Callum did grow in power.
Yeah. It always does, not surprise me, amaze me. Just we were what level? 3, 5, something like that, and we were going up against him. Thank God he.
Well, that's why he didn't bother as well.
Yeah.
He just went, "I'm out."
Yeah.
I don't need to bother with you. You're insignificant. So he just disappeared in that first or second session. I think it was probably the third or fourth. Actually, by the time I look at it,
I love hubris of enemies.
Oh, how he regretted that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Left his book behind, and that set Jewel on her journey. So all sorts of crazy stuff. I did consider for that fight throwing a load of aberrations at you as well, given his experiments. But it just got too much to manage, being a true GM moment at that point. The minion side of it, I was just there like, no, there's too much shit going on, so we're going to simplify it down and make it more of a worthwhile battle with the boss, I think. Because essentially, whereas campaign 1 we had 1 BBEG, I feel like for this campaign you've had 3 or 4, or like a couple of mini bosses up to the main then boss at the end.
No, absolutely, and that has been really cool to do, because each one has also had different battle mechanics that we've tried to pull together with. And I have to say that I think we have, I think we can always think that we can do better, but I think we worked really well as a party to eventually start working well in those fights, working together.
What I really liked is the array or the different ranges of types of battle that we had to have. So there was some of it where we just need to beat this thing to a pulp and kill it. There was some of it was where avoid getting killed by this thing while we get this other thing and escape with our lives. And then it was, this one's trying to escape, we need to stop them, not necessarily kill them, but incapacitate them. And then there was the ones where actually we'll just show this one mercy and we don't have to kill it, we can just talk to it, convince it to talk to us. So there was loads of different elements. And then some of it was we just had to let 2 enemies fight actually, and we didn't even need to kill them both, and we actually chose to run ourselves when it was Callum. Like, we didn't try and finish that off, we actually legged it strategically. So we did. Well, I think we covered all the bases.
There was a certain catalyst of that.
And you dying.
It's fine.
Again.
But what I liked as well is you brought in environmental stuff. Which I've been reading the Daggerheart DM's guide in preparedness for my arc coming in the future, and there's a chapter on there about using the environment, and that's what you did, and it was like we had to light the lanterns when we were fighting the Shrouded Lord, or use the plinths and the shadows and the covers to our advantage or to their advantage in some cases Matt was doing. So I like that element to it as well, because it gives you more to think about, because then it's not just gather around the big guy and twat him, is it?
That's been my own DM journey, I think, throughout campaign 1 and campaign. I did a little bit in campaign 1, but I tried to do it more and more in campaign 2. It's not just you're in a big. I tend to think of like boss fights in games, and a lot of the time, like if you look at arena. If you look at Elden Ring, for example, you walk into a room and it's just you and the boss. But then you've got other games where it's actually, and to be fair, Baldur's Gate 3 is good at this, where you walk into a boss fight and it's not just where the boss is, it's the room you're in, what equipment you've got, what's around you, what can you use, which is where you get all these videos of barrelmancy, and it's fantastic. People just go collect a shit ton of exploding barrels, dump them in the room using invisibility, and then light them and fuck off. But so using those sorts of things, I think it adds. I mean, you can tell me, I think you already have, is it adds to those boss fights rather than just being hit enemy till they go to 0.
Dude,
couldn't agree more, because quite frankly, especially with Duel, I was like, the fuck am I going to do? Like, I'm squishy, and yet I need to do damage nearby, and then actually when it was like, okay, so lanterns then, with varying success.
Edgious used to do it in previous battles before he erased himself. Was he had his big old sword that he used to use as cover and create his own environmental tactical solutions.
He actually used that sword twice as a sword.
Oh yeah. There's no need to use that sword as a sword very often. It was big enough for cover. I think. Do you know what? I think the combat thing is super interesting, because I agree with you, Matt. Like, often I think of boss battles as the arena kind of situation and things like that. And
Batman
I think
came to mind for mine. Like, you end up with a room closed and like, oh Christ,
Exactly. And I think, Matt, something that you did, and as you said, dude, it was this evolution. And I think, like, specifically towards the end, 2 things that I loved about your maps and our arenas for battle, or wherever we were fighting, environmental stuff, was I like the varying degrees of elevation. That was something that I really started to enjoy that you were doing, where we would have like rocky outcrops or pillars or various different things like that mean that, you know, we can get higher ground, lower ground, you know, people can move around and things like that, more cover. But, and I know, Matt, you and I have spoke about this, especially when we did our little workshop together ages ago, was like the Levolution type thing, Battlefield 3 kind of energy, where you completely change the environment of a map like midway through because something happens. And I know, like, you know, someone setting off a fireball, creating like, you know, a dent, you know, a crater in the ground where people could hide in, you know, and use as cover is awesome stuff. So I really appreciated, Matt, as it went on, that you started adding in those things like elevation, things like Levolution, changing the map and area up, you know, midway through some of the battles and things. So yeah, I agree, dude. Towards the end, it was getting really, really slick. I think one thing I would love, you know, positive criticism, I would love some chases in campaign 3. I look forward to having some. I feel like it's the campaign where we can definitely have some weird like roof chase scenes kind of going on. So I'm looking forward to some of that.
Matt did introduce and you know, we have had some of them, and that was that the chase, the okay, you now need to do your three failures before three successes before 3 failures. And it didn't always go our way, and that was great. In fact, it was part of the codex. You know, so I'm looking forward to that more. As it just, you know, a continuation of that into campaign 3, because it works well, as you say. The, you know, go in and kill something is good. The chase is also good. The
chase is always good when the players run away.
Yes, indeed. And
so, but we are going to have to remind ourselves, like, two things again of that we can run away, and also, Matt, you've done this, as we've literally just talked about. The enemy can run away. Like, you think about it, especially for our ideas for future campaigns, is we're all just going to be like just people, probably for a job, and therefore a mercenary is going to go, do you know what, this isn't worth dying for, and run.
Fuck that.
And that's going to be that we're like, you know, we're suddenly turning the corner and actually, you know, winning the battle, at which point they all scarper, at which point we've either got the shit, do we need to stop them all, stop one, interrogate one, or just let them go.
There's also the chase element where we've got to get somewhere in a certain amount of time, or achieve something before a timer runs out, which is like the countdown timers, because that adds a chase element to it as well. So it's like you need to get there before sundown to do X, Y, and Z, or this first instead, sort of thing.
Dude,
rescue missions
I love that
shit
as well. I think, Matt, you can, like, definitely in this next campaign, dude, you can win some more battles, dude. Like, as a GM, dude, your record is appalling. If you were an MMA fighter, your record would be, like, fucking 3 wins and, like, 2,300 losses, dude. So, I think,
I like to think my wins are when the players have fun.
Kind of shit. Yes, true.
That's what losers tell themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. All right. Well, okay. Oh, fucking gloves are off. We're going bare knuckle for campaign 3.
I regret that already.
Right. Should we bring it back to our
win conditions, Matt?
Yeah. Should we use it? Let's go back to our recap, because we could talk campaign 3 for hours, I think, and we will no doubt do that before we go into the campaign. So yeah, post Vane. Shrouded Lord arrived, and then we were straight into the Mornweald. And it was at that point, I think, you were all sort of, and even I was like, okay, now we're getting close to the end. And I got nervous as the GM, like, how do we close this in the right way? One of the first things I had to make sure we did there was deal with the Callum situation. So obviously we got into the Mornweald, and pretty much the first thing I threw at you was Callum not coming after you, waiting for you to get to a certain point. And then that battle ensued with all the stuff that he'd sort of collected while being in the campaign with you guys, but then also the powers that he'd picked up through you kind of taking out the Dark Triumvirate and him then becoming the focal point of the Shrouded Lord's power in the material plane, if you like.
Him using the environment was something I did not expect and was so there for it. Like, the fact that he had those lanterns that gave him different effects was cool that we knew after the fact. That was a really cool thing, because again, we were like, we didn't know what's going on, and it again means that the fight had movement, because again, that's the thing that, you know, a fight falls down when it's like, you know, everyone just goes into one place, doesn't move, doesn't do anything, and there's no change in combat scenario. So movement in a fight really is cool, I find.
Yeah, and he was a lot more powerful than originally sort of, I think you'd known him to be as such.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully that was a satisfying end to. That's the comment I needed.
I will never forgive fucking just, do you know what, Matt, it was more than anything, I will just never forgive you for lulling us in for, like, dude, it was years of my life that I fucking loved that guy, dude. Like, I talked about it with my friends, I talked about it with my wife, I talked about Callum being this, you know, I'm like, oh man, it's a good DMPC, you know, he's always losing his trousers, he's being fucking, like, he's got
you fucking started that as well.
Yeah, I did, dude. And it was just really, 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 he was just fucking great. And you just fucking stabbed us so hard in the back that I truly have a level of PTSD and trust.
What Matt is trying to do is avoid us having another Bothrid moment. He's trying to make sure we don't pick up another fucking character, and we will.
I will never learn to love an NPC again, Matt. You've forever scarred me.
I just kind of wanted to make
absolute bullshit.
First time
the first
you rescued
goblin.
a guy and he became the actual heart of the campaign. The second time I was like, how do I rip this heart out?
Dude, you ripped it out and stomped on it, bro, and it fucking hurt. It hurt. But
we murdered Hobo,
you know,
and everyone next campaign.
Dude, it was the fact that you played it on for so long, Matt. And it was, again, pure happenstance that I put in my eye of truth seeing that one time to try and find an illusion. Who knows how fucking much longer that would have gone on as well, because you sick fuck were there laughing at us behind the camera for so long. Like, who knows? Dude, it was pure luck, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, that's one of my favorite things that you've done as a GM.
Yeah, at what point were you going to?
At what point? So in the back of my mind, I think I had it. He would be with you to collect all the pieces of the Eclipse Codex, and then he would have tried to steal them all.
Yeah, and
take them to the Shrouded Lord. And fuck knows what would have happened to this campaign if he'd succeeded in that.
He'd have probably done it, because we'd have gone, Callum, can you hold all these for us for a sec?
Well, yeah, 100%.
Well, you did.
We did. We gave him one of them.
He gave him the Feywild amulet, and I'm just there like, okay. So yeah, but all good fun. So yes, he died successfully, I might add, with and I think the poetic moment for me there was, it was Suri's final move, and Steve, in a pure act of humility as a player, when I don't want this moment, I want it to be the groups. And I loved that you all then essentially delivered the final blow against Callum in the Mournweald, against this fallen archway. Essentially, I thought that was again a little bit of poetry in the storytelling from the.
I think that speaks to Steve. So he's always got an eye towards the plot, the narrative, and the group collaborative story. And he selflessly, in that moment, was like, actually, these guys have beef with him. Suri doesn't, so they should get to kill him. Which was
it was amazing, and I think it's no real surprise that, to be honest, that was. Whilst that was it was a very hard fight, it wasn't a harder fight than the Shrouded Lord, but it was a more meaningful fight and ending. That I'm kind of glad that it was that, because then otherwise you almost would surpass that in that BBEG fight. So it was nice that that was prior to that fight, to the ending, that it was like, we feel accomplished. This happened.
Do you know what? I agree with Danny. Shout out to Steve for being coming in late and being an absolute assist man this campaign, and
100%.
Throwing up fucking alley oops the whole fucking time, giving everyone that beautiful whatever sports analogy, through ball, whatever you want to put, fucking dummy fake pass, I don't know, fucking attached sports analogy there. But I think I'm really curious to see how
don't collect $200. What?
Not sure you can assist anybody in Monopoly, Dave, but yeah, sure.
I want to see if he is able to bring the same energy to a character who's there from the start next campaign, or whether he falls back into that same assist place. Because again, he played it so fucking well that I think if that isn't there, and I think we could all be better at it. Me personally, reflecting on myself, I feel like I'm decent at assists, but I really could be better compared to Steve. I'm curious to see whether he just falls into that naturally in this next one as well, whether that's just his default or whether it was purely Suri coming in so late this campaign that allowed him to channel that.
So I've played other games with Steve as well, and Steve, when we talked about bringing Steve into this campaign, it was very much what do the party need and how can I help. So he's always had that in his mind from the moment he joined this campaign. Now I know Steve's campaign 3 character already, and I would expect different things. Is all I'm going to say. There's
Cool.
there's a very different character on the horizon, folks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's
So good.
it's going to be good.
Is it going to be like that Vince Vaughn meme where it's like, we need to talk about this, and then he points at somebody and goes, "You're the problem," and is that what we're going to be doing to Steve's character? Is it going to be that?
Let's wait and see, shall we? But I think in terms of recap then, post-Callum, I'm not going to or I don't think we need to discuss sort of the final fight too much, because we've kind of gone over this in the last couple of weeks anyway, and that should be fresh in everybody's minds. But I think, again, from me, for that fight, for the epilogue as well, which we've discussed, is just a massive thank you to the three of you, to Steve, to Tom as well, and to all our other guests. Because what an end to the campaign, but also what a campaign we had as well. I think probably let's go for a quick break now, and then I'm gonna bring it back after the break, and we're gonna talk through some favourite moments and stuff. Bodes.
Can I quickly, just because I am going to pull out after
Of course
the break,
you are.
I need to ask Danny a question about the final decision when you guys were deciding whether to go with what was it, like rehabilitation, banishment, or
Seal, banishment, or restoration.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Danny, there's a moment where you, Dave, and everyone's chosen restoration, and you're walking, and everyone's walking towards this light, and you describe this moment where you're like, Lex is holding Jules' hand, and she feels like a bit of tension. How much were you like in that moment really debating ripping away from Jules and having Lex go in charge, like, for Seal, and just being like, fuck everybody else, I'm gonna just be the Seal? Because it felt like, watching that moment, I'm not sure, Matt, you watching it back, for me watching it, I was like, Danny, it felt like you were so on the fucking edge of like disappearing and going and being like, fuck it, I'm gonna be the Seal. How close was that? I just need to know.
To be honest, before we'd gone into that episode, I had pre-made the decision that Lex was going to choose the Seal, because I'd interpreted it as, because obviously there wasn't supposed to be 3 holders of the sigil, there was only supposed to be 1, and it was all written in the singular, so I interpreted it, reading it, that only 1 person could be the Seal. So I was going to use my wish spell to make myself the sole bearer of the sigil and become the Seal. Then
Nice.
so I'd already pre-made that, and then Jules' speech to say, you can't do this, what about me, think about who you're going to be leaving behind, made me think. But then I did almost have a moment where I thought, actually, should I do it? But then when Dave said, Jules looks back at you, I thought to myself, if actually Lex looked Jules dead in the eye, he couldn't then walk away from her. He could only do it when she wasn't looking. And so that's when he thought about it. But then she turned around and gave him the eyes, and he was like, okay, I'll follow you anywhere. So yeah, I was fucking a whisker away from doing it.
Which is cool, because
Love that analogy.
I had no idea that Danny and or Lex was going to do that, and that was the point. Like, I was just playing what Jewel would do and say, and it could have gone anyway, and that is what it is.
Dude, other final thing before I go, just quickly, just things that I want to throw to Dave and Danny. Danny, dude, your arc of Lex being this soulless fucking robot to being like one of the most heartfelt characters I've ever seen in a TTRPG campaign, where you fully ended up like feeling and going with the emotions that Lex was feeling, as opposed to any of the fucking logic happening half the time, was one of my fucking, like, talking about highlights, just one of my fucking absolute highlights from this campaign, dude, was seeing Lex's arc from when I first showed up to the end, and you in that moment, you choosing Jewel because of that, even though logic probably would have dictated that it was way safer to do Seal. Like, it proves that arc was just magic, dude. Dave, I have to say, dude, when you and I had our tiff about Brom, dude, adding in that element of friction between the party, dude, was one of my favorite things that we did. It was such a good arc, and you and I redeeming that throughout the next probably like 20 sessions that we had was some of my fucking favorite shit as well. So thank you for that as well, Dave. I really, really appreciate it.
You are very welcome, but it was one of those ones of I think hopefully the way that we want to play this, and that is not everything is always sunshine and roses. Like, this is, we try and play it how it is, and it was, our characters are fundamentally disagreeing at this point.
Yeah. And Matt,
how do you get around that? We can't just be like, oh yeah, I see it from your side of view. Let's hug. Like, no.
Yeah. Dude, I agree wholeheartedly. I think I think, I look forward to this next campaign. It feels like there's going to be even more secrets and friction going into campaign 3 that we're going to have to manage as a group. And Matt, also, dude, I just really want to shout out, dude, to you. For me, dude, you're GMing this campaign progressed leaps and bounds, dude, and some of the moments that you threw at us as NPCs and emotional moments that we fucking had, and things that were really moving, really, really beautiful for me, like stuff with Takami, and specifically when I almost died getting the Abyssal Core and you gave me a chance to go back and see my family, and we had that like RP moment, dude. I don't know, just some of my biggest highlights from it all, and I appreciated watching you as a GM, dude, just grow in multiple ways. So again, thank you everyone for fucking just the most amazing campaign and all the fucking amazing shit that we did, because I'm not going to forget it anytime soon, and I'm going to make lots of skits about it, because there's such a wealth of fucking shit to cover and funny moments that I can make into silly skits. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. All of my highlights were every episode, but some specific ones that I want to shout out.
Awesome.
Thanks, Matt. I was going to say the main growth for Matt over this campaign was his guns.
Dude, literally, bro, the video from in the intro to Matt now, 2 different people, dude, 2 different fucking people.
It's like when Triple H went out injured, took loads of steroids, and then came back hench. Yeah. His signature, the name of the steroids, is it? Is that what you just said?
No, it's not. It's my personal trainer, who's an absolute godsend generally. So, but yeah, no, amazing. Thanks, Bodhi. And look, I've said it before, but you and Tom came in at a time where we were kind of, are we going to be able to keep this going? And really helped us bring it back. So it was just us 3, wasn't it? We properly able to bring it back on track. But I was looking through the arcs before we did this, and I went, you know what, at the beginning we had like intro to the campaign, and then certain stuff went on, but the campaign really kicks off in the late 20s, and that's when you and Tom joined and really started to shape the campaign a little bit more with us. So a massive thank you to you. I have one final question for you, my friend, which I will be asking the others as well. Your favourite NPC? And Callum's not allowed.
Oh, dude, that's such a fucking hard question. Do you know what? Just a couple off the top of my head. Or the dwarf that we tortured in Dryad's Gate was fucking just weird and hilarious. I also loved the old lady that we hired in Dryad's Gate as well. She was fucking brilliant. And just the clothing store, Gibby's fucking clothing store. Gibby was just fucking great as well. Dude, for me though, just because it allowed me to have my weights, my sword, actually 2 of my swords, and everything. It's Jules' dad.
Nice.
Jules.
I thought you was going to say Takami Sensei, because the interactions between you two were fucking hilarious.
Oh, dude, that's another good point. I forgot about fucking that homie. Yeah, he was sick. No, but Dream just fucking, I don't know. I loved his connection with Tom. I loved his Paige, sorry. Connection with Tom, connection with Jewel, connection with me. I just felt like he really was this kind of Iroh, like Uncle Iroh kind of style character for a little bit there. So I really enjoyed that.
Amazing.
Excellent. All right, well, we're going to go to break. Bodhi's going to jump off because he's got some other things he needs to sort out tonight. But Bodhi, thank you again. We will see you in a few weeks, I believe.
Hell yeah. I'll be back
for some more chaos. Absolutely. Well, it's Call of Cthulhu first. As Steve steps into the GM's chair or into the Keeper's chair. More to come on that one. But yeah, we'll take a few minutes and then we'll be back for a little bit of a talk through our favourite moments and catch up again. And then, yeah, that'll be it.
See you in a minute.
Hell yeah.
See you in a few. Hey-o.
Hello.
Look at that, Dave. That was fucking seamless for a C2 transition. I say C2. Part 2 transition is what I meant there.
Yeah.
Still stuck in fucking campaign 2. Yeah, there we go. So welcome, folks.
Let it go, Matt.
Welcome
campaign
back,
2's finished.
I know, thanks. I'm still emotionally invested.
As we
still
all
haven't
are.
quite given it up yet.
Yeah.
We only gave 3.5 years of our life to it.
God, that is ridiculous that it was that long.
We did.
Absolutely well.
But it's because we did do other arcs in between, so it's not as if we spent 3 solid years on campaign 2. We did other stuff in between, didn't we? But in real time, it was 3 years.
Absolutely. So I know that we've already had Bodhi answer his question, but we do have this question from Josh. So shall I play it and then we can all answer it?
Yeah, perfect timing, seeing as Roll Together's just raided.
Yeah, let's go for it. So let me see if I can do this. All fun and games. Let's see what happens. Tell me if you can hear this.
It's like having a call-in on a radio show, isn't it?
And okay, we got our first caller, and here it is. Josh, what have you got to ask us?
Hello, gents. Josh here. Congratulations on completing campaign 2. It was a blast. My question for you, and I apologise if this is a bit of a long-winded answer for all of you. You've had some absolutely amazing guests appear throughout the campaign. What has been your favourite moment from each of them and their characters?
Thank you, Josh. And of course, this is 2 minutes past 9, and you're listening to Malt and Magic.
Dave living out a past life here. Or just
Josh has led the witness with that one because he was one of those guest stars. Well played, Josh.
Yeah, but what he didn't ask was who was your favourite guest. It was more from each of your guests. What was your favourite moment in those episodes? So now is the perfect time for us to actually go through all of the guest stars that we've had. We won't count Tom and Bodhi because they are part of the family anymore. We're not going to count Steve because he's also part of the family anymore. Our first guest was, of course, my friend Paul, who came in for a couple of episodes. Now, in campaign 1, he played this curmudgeony old wizard, which is quite funny. For campaign 2, he played the most chaotic soldier character. Shop owner, artificer type weirdo.
That was when we went to save Jules' soul, wasn't it?
Absolutely was. So it was the Tomb of the Forgotten Queen, as it should now be called, not King.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna cheat on this one and just say my favourite moment from Paul joining was just the character concept that he brought, because I looked at it and went, "What the fuck?"
I mean, trying to RP against it was a fun challenge, if you know what I mean, because I didn't know what his character was going to be. I didn't know how it was going to work. So actually coming up against a character that brought that kind of energy, it was quite fun to be able to bounce off it and RP around it, because obviously we all kind of each know each other, so we can kind of predict what we're going to do, but not knowing what Paul was going to do next was a fun element. Was my favourite element, should I say.
I mean, the voice was also incredible because it was that weird high-pitched squeaky thing that he brought in. So
yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those ones of I don't know really what to bring in for that, because it was just so great to to have him there, and it was also a weird one because obviously it was at that time when it was like trying to save Jewel, and therefore I was trying to play a character for a one shot essentially.
Oh, you was
for me.
the cow.
I was the cow.
The cow. Oh, what an insult to that whole race. But okay.
But yeah, so it was kind of one of those ones of like, I was just trying to not fuck that one up.
Dave was on edge the whole time.
I was the whole time.
Oh, brilliant stuff. So yeah, I think that was Paul. We then had, I think the next guest was Fletch, if I remember rightly in my timeline. It was the first time Fletch joined us when we were in Stonebark Village. Almost forgot the name of the fucking village then. But he joined us, obviously, as Ottoman for the first time, chasing down these shadows. What a character to drop in that moment. And the dynamics between the party in that session were hysterical, because you've got very stoic Paladin versus the group. Now, I do have my favourite moment from that episode, but I'm not going to go first. I'm going to throw this one straight to Dave.
So I will go for this one. And if my memory serves, it was Jewel had already legged it down the well and was in the start of the tunnel. So then just Ottoman arrived, and the interaction between Jewel and Ottoman at that point was absolutely on point. And as you say, the chaoticness against the stoicness was just brilliant, and I loved it.
I knew we was in for trouble in terms of, this is a seasoned veteran. When, he insisted on his character was introduced full name. So Ottoman, son of Redman, third in this line, King of the Seven Kingdoms, Rider of Dragons, all of the sort of Game of Thrones type intro. I was like, oh God, we got a serious man on our hands here. There's Lex like, I can do timey-wimey.
Go on, Matt. What was your favourite bit?
I was going to say Fletch is a fully seasoned D&D veteran. My favourite bit was at the end, because it was at the end of that episode where he gets sucked off by the portal, as he said. Yeah, he'd made the faux pas at the end, which again, awesome comedy moment that wasn't meant to be there. But sucked into the portal, and he just turns around and says, "Come with me to find the King Killer." And that was instantly me going, let's play with one of the characters, and that was Edgious, who had that connection to Maximilian Klein. So Ottoman gets pulled into a portal, disappears for who knows however long, and you've got Bodhi sat there going, well, what the fuck? Right, there was answers there.
Yeah.
I think my favourite, this is going to sound bad because Fletch didn't actually play him at this time, but when Ottoman made a reappearance later on, because he couldn't make it to do when Josh came back, but then when he was like on the mountainside, and then he was in the epilogue, just having those harkbacks to him as the character, I liked that as well as a nice little touch.
Yeah, it was important to the moments as well. So, and I suppose, we should talk about Josh. I guess. I mean, minor guest character.
He contributed a little bit, I suppose. It's got,
no, we had two.
I need to go first so I can say Roger the Rat.
Well, no, that's perfect, because you've beat my intro there, which was Garnet, but in two different guises, which I loved. Josh, for his second appearance as Garnet, turned around and said, can I flip it on its head? But his first appearance was him and Fletch together as guests, and that's where we had our first stress test, Dave, of the systems. Can we run this many people at once? And I think we got it. We managed to do it, and we had everybody sort of...
And it's because I will have to say, I mean, it works a lot better now, thankfully, but at that time, I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't remember any of that episode, right? Because I was just in the background looking after tech, and I do not remember a single bit of that episode.
We should find that episode back and just look at the fear in Dave's eyes.
Honestly,
the whole episode.
I bet I didn't look forwards more than 2% of the time. Like, I was just constantly working over here, and I was just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
I think it was only when Dave, what's Jewel doing? She's dashing and stabbing.
Yep. Then it was just like moving on. So it was just, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is that also the one where Jewel met a buyer and I suddenly had to like snap in and be like, shit, I need to have this conversation?
That was
at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that was later. Yeah, I think that was either the end of the episode or the episode after.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But I think we still had both guests. Actually, we still had them both there. I think some of the other cast members had dropped out for that. It was either Tom or Bodhi. But yes, we still had them both on. Now, my favourite moment of that episode was when both guests came out following this shadow dragon. I think it's both. I can't remember the exact words they used, but both of them made a pun about being up the dragon's ass.
Yeah, absolutely on point.
But I think more recently, for Garnet, it was the dismissed deity that he tried to do.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely unreal.
What a clutch moment in the moment as well. Fantastic stuff.
As you've nicked that one, I'm going to say it was actually the fact that then we turned around and was like, Garnet, what are you doing? And he buggered off. It's like, that's it, we're done.
Oh, his Irish goodbye.
His Irish exit was absolutely phenomenal. And I absolutely loved it. I do also have to say, and this is maybe it's just my nostalgia of Daggerheart, but I kept thinking that he was also
I am your shield.
Yes.
Odrin the Tall.
I just
or Kevin the Tall.
Constantly kept thinking that it was Odrin. And I was like, no, I have to look down and it's Garnet.
Yeah. He's not stopped me getting hit once yet. Oh, hang on, no, different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose with the Irish goodbye, though, the really, really bad link there is then our final guest star, if you like, which was Nikki. Now, Nikki and I met in the most obscure way, which was through TikTok, purely by the fact we've got the same last name. And suddenly discovered that we both love D&D. So there's some family link there somewhere. But then Nikki joined us as Timora in the Astral Sea. Had a lot of tech issues, bless her. But absolutely smashed it. What I loved about Nikki is turning up in full costume and fully committed to that character.
Despite the technical issues, I would have to say probably one of my more favourite additional guest players in terms of the storyline it brought, as you say, the way that she brought that character in, and what I just found it, maybe also because there was that connection with Jewel with the Astral Sea. That's why it just felt so on point. But also the fact that we had some lore drops, as we said,
mega lore drops.
Some serious lore drops. But I mean, not only Matt, as you just said with one of our other guest stars, the fact that we found it was the tomb of the Queen, not the King, or and it was like, would you get what? Like that was a callback.
Yeah, my favourite Nikki moments was the voiceovers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, of course, because Nikki did do. She was the voice of the Queen of Air and Darkness for us as well. Yes. So I loved being able to do that as well. It's something I may toy with doing more for campaign 3 as well, as getting guest voices as opposed to just guest stars. Not
to mention the secondary set of then voiceovers for what actually happened to the Queen of Air and Darkness. That was even
nice.
More
do you think it would work if we did voiceovers for the campaign, although the person who did it would know what it was for, or not necessarily know what it was for, but would recognise it when it started playing? Could we do voiceovers, do you think? Like, Danny, just read this in a goblin voice. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I don't know why, and then it'll come up when it comes up.
I can give you speaking notes and stuff like that, and then we can do that. I have no problem.
That could be quite fun, because they'll be like, when's it going to come up? When's it going to happen?
Yeah.
That could be cool.
A lot of fun. So we've been blessed with our guests, I think, this campaign.
And some of them even came back, so we weren't too shit.
Indeed. So, yes. I think a couple of those guests have even stuck around, so they are no longer guests, as we've said. They are family.
Stockholm syndrome kicks in quick with us, doesn't it?
It really does. You become one of us really quickly.
One of us.
Exactly that. It's hard to break those bonds. I mean, I've pinged Josh in the background about potentially doing another one shot. I was like, I'm not free for this one, but let me know when you're doing another one. Okay.
The more magic hive mind is strong.
Yeah. I suppose that brings me on to and I've not prepped anybody for these questions, by the way. I'm just pulling them out my arse as we speak.
Answer the full extent of Josh's question.
Yeah, that's
favourite
all.
moments from
Unless you can
the
think of
guest,
any
wasn't
other guests that I've forgotten.
We're going to feel really bad if we have, and whoever it is, I'm so sorry.
I know. You're making me doubt myself now, Danny, and I don't like it.
Because I can't remember if it was a two-pronged question, but we have answered it, I think.
I don't know, Josh. You're in the chat somewhere. Did we answer your question?
It was the favourite moment of that character of the guest star. So I believe we have answered that.
Absolutely. So yes, off the top of my head, then, not necessarily just out my arse, is your favourite moment from another player?
Ooh,
we haven't answered our favourite NPC either that you asked Bodhi before the break, so we need to do that.
No. We will come to that as well. We'll come to that. But yeah, I think while we're on the talking about each other as players and characters, and we'll keep this to campaign 2. I know we've played a lot of other shit. But yeah, we'll keep this to campaign 2 for now. In campaign 2, what's been your favourite moment from another player?
I suddenly have a mind blank. I kind of feel like it probably would be something along the line of maybe some of Cavern's sort of, maybe even his origin story. Like, I kind of feel like there was some fun stuff he was doing in that really,
the arc in the Citadel Underground was one of my favourite ones, although it was literally just mass murdering corrupted priests. That RP element or that part of Cavern's story, that's my favourite bit, I think, from Cavern.
Yeah. Would it make it easier if I turn around and ask you, okay, what was your favourite duel moment?
Yeah, I think we'd have to do it for each character.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it that way then. So I'll go to Danny first, because Dave, you can think of your own favourite moment as your character.
I think for me, for Jewel, it was probably when she thought she was going to die when we were trying to get the Abyssal Core and she kissed Lex.
Nice.
Because I didn't expect it to happen. Yes, I stole Matt's. Lex didn't expect it to happen. And then what I liked about it is that introduced a whole new things that I thought had to think about RPing. It changed my epilogue, for one.
Yes.
And it changed then the dynamic for the group for the rest of the campaign. So it changes Lex's decision, like we were talking about for the seal. If she hadn't have done that, Lex would have chose the seal without a second question. The emotional side of him that Bodhi was on about of Lex, that probably wouldn't have come out as much because he wouldn't have had as much of emotional attachment. So I think that changed how I played Lex more since when you did that.
I'm not even going to think of another one because I wholeheartedly agree. I think that was a pivotal moment in the whole Jewel and Lex relationship and the party dynamic. I think it was just one single thing before Jewel then flies into a rock. This is it. And I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was and that was it. To peel back the curtain for everyone, I didn't think of that happening at the start of the episode. Not even 5 minutes before it happened. It suddenly was like, oh, everything is going very wrong. And what happens, like, legitimately could die here. How basically that thing of Matt could be asking me in a minute, what are Jewel's last moments? And I'm like, I'm gonna not preempt it, but I am gonna, maybe Jewel would want to preempt it and be like, I think this is gonna happen. What would I say? What would I do? So that's what I did. As you have both taken that one, I am going to go with a slightly more obscure one, and it's quite early on in the campaign, and that was her realisation earlier on that fighting wasn't always the best thing to do. She grappled and disarmed a corrupted knight. This was just outside of Mort Stacy.
It was.
And it was quite a pivotal moment for her, which was not everything is you need to be a fighter. Didn't always come out afterwards, but it was very crucial at the time, and it did. Like we said with the lanterns, it was, there's other things you can do. There are other puzzles, there are other things, there's other ways in which you can be of benefit, and that was it. The other thing is even more, in fact, this one is therefore going to be my best one, and that was her first use of Misty Step when everyone else knew that she hated magic and didn't want it. Even though it was, I don't know, episode 2 or something stupid, I was so excited to be able to drop that one. That was good fun. I like that.
Yeah, a character that doesn't like magic but just has this single item that allows them to
and it was
disappear
for a long time the only thing she was willing to have any magic connection with. Anything at all.
It was up until the Dusk Dagger. So.
Yeah, so quite a long time.
That was
like
your second
half
magic
of the
item,
campaign or something.
Oh yeah, there's a good chunk of the campaign before you got any sort of magical
it was really...
I'm going to throw another one in for you.
You came back changed from the Astral Sea. That's when you started embracing it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to throw another one in, and that was the... both Mayanora death scenes, I think.
Oh.
There was the first one, and then that final one as well, where Dave, your role play in those moments was chef's kiss. Just
again, it's probably one of those ones that I don't remember it so well because I'm so in it. I was like, yeah, sure. What happened? What happened? I can't, I kind of black out and come back and go, was that all right?
Pure RP, a method, I think, is what they call that. Let's go to Cavern then. I think we've kind of already said this a little bit, but favorite Cavern moment. I'm going to go first, which I then reused this phrase numerous amounts of time, and it just stands out for me for whatever reason. Is Tom sitting there as Cavern and just going fucking Callum the whole time? I can't remember what it was, but it's just one of those moments where, as Cavern, I'm like, it's in my brain, proper earworm, and I cannot think of Cavern without hearing that phrase.
No, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right on that one. No, totally. Danny, you got something?
Does it count as a Cavern moment, or is it Edgious? You know when he was Cavernosaurus Rex, K-Rex, when we was fighting the Void Mages?
I think that could be a bit of a joint moment, because Edgious cast the spell, but then Tom leaned into it as hard as anybody could lean into anything.
Yeah.
So
K-Rex.
No, it was good. That was a hysterical episode. That was our first experience of playing D&D around the table together. Yeah. Because obviously we'd done it on an individual basis. I think we'd done solo D&D sessions like DM and player. I think we'd run that in my house for fucking beginning of campaign, early in campaign 1. But that was the first time proper table, proper map, proper setup, and proper recording. So that was definitely a fun. I learned a lesson in time management that weekend.
Yeah, I think we all did. Because fuck me, this is. Well, we just enjoyed playing it so much. That was the problem.
Yeah, we did. We did indeed.
I think generally I want to go with the overall dynamic between Jewel and Cavern. The brotherly love, the brotherly connection there for Jewel, which again had its own tension, like we spoke about before with what Bodhi brought it up. That tension over Brom was so important, but always that thing of the fact that she looked at Cavern as the big brother, and why it was therefore so nice when again Cavern at her family's house was so heartwarming for her. Yeah,
absolutely. Edgious?
I don't think we can use the dismiss himself.
Yeah, we can't use that. I was just about to say, Bagsy, that one.
You're not using the spell form of erasure, because I think we all love that in the moment, and that is a group shared favourite moment for Edgious.
Yeah. Well, okay, I know this is a slightly more morbid one, but the way in which it sent ripples through the party, and that was his loss of his memory for his family. Was it a family or just his kid?
Stop it.
Because it really changed
the Glimmermere moment.
Yeah. That's got to be
give something to receive something.
Yeah, that's got to be mine.
His interactions with Sharon were good, where he was like, I want to go through the 9th gate. I don't want to. Do I or do I not? But I think for me, ultimately, it's probably his emotional arc with Takami and the dichotomy of falling in love with somebody new, but you've also got your family that you want to go back to eventually, and how that kind of broke his heart almost. So I liked that, his interaction with Takami as it went through.
It's definitely one of Bodhi's fortes. Is his emotional RP is top form as well. So I don't disagree with either of those either. I think there's been a lot of moments where Edgious has had that, because he often is often the aloof character, like happy-go-lucky, and then there's that moments where it just centers Edgious as actually a human being, well, not even a human being, but a mortal being, and really brings it back down to earth. And Bodhi did a fantastic job of that in both of those moments. I think there was also that moment where I gave him the option, like, here's your wife and kid. What do you want to do? Like, you can go to them now, or you can carry on your journey. And I loved how he played that as well. That definitely stands out in my mind.
Awesome.
I've given you long enough to think about this one then. Lex.
Go on, Dave.
I have two. I will use one, and I'll say the second one if you guys don't. So I loved the random comedy moments from Lex. So I'm going to take the time that he did an absolute clutch, and that was grabbing the orrery from back in time, nearly killed himself, aged himself 40 years, and then stood up and went fucking nailed it. Like, one of the best scenes of Lex, in my opinion. It was absolutely incredible.
Oh, that is a good one. So I have...
Do you want me to go
two.
first, Danny? Or you?
Yeah, because I've got two. So if you say one, I know I've got the other one.
My favourite Lex moment is actually at the end. Because your whole arc was, I am a servant, or I am a champion of Primus and Mechanus. And for you in the end moment to literally turn around and go, fuck you, mate, I thought was the epitome of a character arc in that moment. You've literally
I should have gone first.
Full
Yeah,
circle.
It gave me shivers. It really was like to...
It was.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that bit, sticking it to him and embracing what I was before. So I'm going to have to pick a different one. So I'm going to go with when again, a clutch moment from from Lex, when I used Time Stop. Leora had just used Power Word Kill on Jewel.
Yes. Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been as clutch, and it wouldn't have been as good a moment without the instant success from chat either, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it fully.
Yeah.
So, shout out to chat. So the fact that I was able to steal the Feywild Amulet off Callum, get everybody back, grab Jewel before she'd even hit the floor, and teleport us back to the Bastion. That was... Here he comes to save the day! type moment.
I can't quite believe how Lex's character's best moments are all ones with emotion in. It seems so poignant. So my second one was and again, I can't believe that it was basically the episode after the one I've just, mentioned was my favourite, was also his, like, written down letter to the whole party as they were being fractured apart.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They do a good speech.
Yeah, Lex's like written speech was the only way that Lex would be able to do it. Really, what was the catalyst to the fact that we didn't, like, legitimately be like, one of our characters going. Because that was on the table. Because it was like, look, guys, we're not just... It's like we said before, this is not we'll just, hug it out and it'll be all right. It's like, no. It has to be... we have to have a reason why that happens. And Lex's speech was that catalyst. So, it was incredible.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think, obviously, Jewel had her moments when the stakes were literally as high as they could be. I think Lex has his moments when it was... Lex's emotions were as high as they could be, and it sort of really played into the character, I think, there, into both characters. Jewel being sort of this calm, calculated individual, but then when shit hits the fan, those snap decisions Whereas Lex, in those moments where I'm a logical being, but fuck, you guys are pulling on my emotions, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
That's good. What did you? I mean, like 3 years worth of fucking episodes to try and pull out favorite moments at the drop of a hat is something there. Danny, you mentioned the question earlier, then, so I'll go to you now in terms of favorite NPC.
I think Mara's up there for me.
Yep.
Just for
I loved her introduction.
Yes.
Yep. But what she added to the wider lore of the world as well. But I might have to say Takami, you know, only because it really caught me off guard when she was revealed. I knew she was the protector of Kumuryu, right? When she was revealed to, I know where the Mortal Keystone is. Yeah. My mate, the big old Great Worm's got it in his house. I'll take you to him if you want. And I was like, you fucking what? You've had it this whole time? Like, that reveal, but that's probably more of a DM moment that I like rather than a character moment. But the fact that she was revealed to have that is, I quite like that. And she brought a lot to Edgious, I thought, as well, which then was good for me.
That's a good one.
Yes, she was interested, especially knowing that there was always going to be heartbreak there as well, because I think we all knew that if the choice ever came down to it, Edgious was choosing his family, or his last family, if you like.
Yeah. I'm going to go slightly more obscure, because otherwise I love all the ones that we've interacted with. For Jewel, obviously her whole family is just a given. Like, that's too obvious. Even though I absolutely adored Paige's interaction with every single one of the party. Just that one is gold standard. Paige is the winner. However, I'm gonna go with a weirder one, and that was much earlier on in the campaign. We had the I forget the right term, but they were the weapons dealer that I think we saved. Had connections with the
Rashid.
I just really enjoyed the connection with that. With that weapons dealer, and it was just good fun. It never, there are so many NPCs you don't know whether one is going to be in it for an episode or there long term. I honestly thought they were going to be our connection much longer term, but it just not the way the campaign went. But that was just a great connection that I had. And third to that would be, because I forget his real name, as we always do, Kevin the Eyeball was 100% just an absolute Chad.
Oh, Kevin, I can't remember the different names we ended up coming up with for Lorendrax, the Beholder Librarian.
Yeah.
But fuck me, Kevin the Eyeball is a crowning moment of yours, I think, this campaign, Dave, where, no name's coming out, so I'm just going to make this one up.
Absolutely. I was look, instead of just trying to describe it, I'm just going to say it.
I mean, we've had a lot of NPCs as well, so well done for pulling them out, I think. Yeah, I can't pick a favourite one. It'd be wrong of me to pick a favourite one. But I think the funnier moments are when you've kind of gone, oh yeah, I go and interact with this person, and you, as a DM, you're like, I need to come up with something for this. And generally, I just go down the let's make them as much of a twat as possible route, and just make them silly, hysterical, and someone you'll try and remember or easily forget. So
surely
yeah,
your favourite. You love playing
our
Arbuthnot. Surely that's your favourite.
That I can't call Arbuthnot an NPC. I don't think. Although I suppose it is a non-player character by default. It was fun to throw that curveball at Steve and then for Steve to roll with it. I'm going to make your familiar an absolute cock. And just there is this total, not even hate, just loathing for each of you in that relationship. But it is your familiar, and there you go. You have to deal with it.
I wonder, Matt, not putting words in your mouth, but what about playing the elders of More Stacy? just that whole segment was cracking.
I mean, it's difficult to have to play 5 different NPCs in one episode.
There was one hell of a dynamic in the fact that it wasn't just playing five random NPCs. These were pre-made with very different characteristics.
Yeah.
And, to be fair, it was, I loved it, but, you were essentially having to do this monologue because they were all having to chat. And what was even better for me is, and I say that probably because I was also intentionally playing an invisible character that didn't want to be involved, I got to watch it, and I got to really learn like each individual one and what was happening. And of course, then the mind-blowing thing that happened when everyone else left the room. So I just have to say that was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think I like those moments where I have to create on the spot. But some of the best NPCs I've ever made have been those ones where I've really thought. I mean, Callum's a prime example there. I think of an NPC I knew from day one that he was going to be a dick, and he was going to betray you. And I had that from the moment I introduced him. And if you think about when I introduced him,
I was in Malt Stacy in front of
the arc.
Yeah.
It's Faye arc with with one member of the Triumvirate there, so it was already there.
Yeah,
got to have a special mensch for the Lord of Winter, I think. And to be fair, any of the Fae characters, because I always fuck up on the Fae rules, and interacting with them always messes me up.
I think that's a player problem.
I mean, we
for
know
both of us. So.
And we know my love for the Feywild and all things fairy is one of my favourite settings in D&D. Very good. I mean, I've got one more favourite question for you both, which is favourite magic item, but I'm also keen if you guys have got anything you want to ask me or any of those sorts of things.
Well, I was going to ask you
if
you've done a favourite moment for our characters, what's been your favourite moment as the DM? So when you've like done something and you've gone, fuck yeah, I nailed that. Well, that worked out better than I thought.
Callum's the obvious one there.
Yeah, you can't pick Callum.
I was going to say that it's difficult then. For like Callum's the obvious bit there because that was played for so long. I think it ties into then the character moment. So you've got like the Glimmermere moment.
I was going to say Glimmermere when you took Bodhi's. Yeah.
I honestly also loved playing the Shrouded Lord because it wasn't a traditional bad guy this time. And I loved setting it up towards the end of being, this is someone who started off not necessarily good, but more neutral with a purpose. And that purpose was twisted by others around them to the point they were punished and thrown out of the world. Now, they weren't necessarily wrong or right, but then they've become this evil thing through the acts of other beings. Everything they've done from that point on has turned them into an absolute arsehole, and they have killed, they have ruined people's lives, they have done the worst things possible, but up to that point they weren't that bad guy. So I think I enjoyed building that up and all the lore that that went with it, I think, because we spent ages going through the different chapters of the Eclipse Codex and those lore documents that
we'd
were in
also discussed, which I think you had actually mentioned to us, like you did not fully rewrite, but you did tweak the Shrouded Lord, and that was when we were talking about no villain thinks they're evil. They always are, I'm on the side of right. And that is so important, otherwise we actually can't relate to a baddie. And that's really important. And why our eventual arc to, I use the term very loosely, redeem the Shrouded Lord, is the only way that would have come about, is us thinking about the fact that he wasn't like this always. And that was what was nice about it.
Absolutely. We've just had a shout out from the chat as well. Well, not the chat, our private WhatsApp group, and we have done somebody a very, very bad disservice, and I'm going to apologise profusely for this. We missed out Suri, didn't we, in terms of those favourite character moments? I think we were all getting so far ahead with what we wanted to think about and what we wanted to discuss. So our apologies, Steve. Yeah, we'll make it up to you in your own mini series.
So you can't use
favourite Suri moment.
His name. Right, that
When
one.
he introduced himself full name.
Yeah, that was brilliant, but you're not allowed to use that one as that. Because
I think for me, my favourite Suri moment is when first introduced to him, I forgot he was only here for an episode or two, not for the long haul. He was going away and then coming back. And then he just walked into an alleyway and disappeared at the end of the episode. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. And then he was just gone. Oh, I like that.
it shows, though, that I think we made the right decision, because it meant that we were like, oh, he's already part of the furniture, and we're like, fuck, no, he isn't.
Yeah, and actually, in the epilogue, he did another Irish goodbye, so he's just used to it now. He set the precedent early. Just disappear.
The absolute king of the Irish goodbye. So yeah,
I think it would be again too obvious to say his relationship with Arbuthnot. So I will actually say his line 2, and I feel like it might. Oh, that was it. It was the line to Klein. His one-liner in the Klein fight. Yes.
Bodhi chode in a dress.
Right, yeah.
Who's this
Bodhi
chode
in a dress? Absolutely.
I can't work out if that's my favourite Suri moment or my favourite Steve moment, generally.
Yeah, it's currently topping both.
I can count for both. Actually, I did like that in the epilogue. Essentially, Suri, by going to the banks and saying, stop being cunts, and start giving money and loaning money responsibly, he essentially set up a lottery fund that funded good causes in the community and stuff. So he essentially created the first charity.
He did indeed, at least in Union City. My favourite Suri moment is the bit with the Lord of Winter at the end, because it was not something that we had planned, or at least if it was, in the moment, I had totally forgotten about it. And that whole conversation was absolutely off the cuff.
The way he started by handing a beer to no one, and then going, and then talking to them, was like, what?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yes, we use the word a lot in that sort of dialogue, but poetry in absolute motion, I think, in that bit. Very good. Yeah. Sorry, Steve. We got there in the end, but what a ton of fucking moments you've given to us.
Out of sight, out of mind, and all that.
This Call of Cthulhu campaign's going to be horrible now.
I'm not even going to make half an episode, and my character's going to be dead in it.
Danny, introduce your character. Oh, you fall down and you die.
Yeah. All dead. Very good. Cool. Favourite magic item then?
Are we going for our own character?
I just favourite magic item in general. It
can
be yours, it could be somebody else's.
Because when we first got it, we were RPing, feeling each other's emotions. That was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I love the fact
we had to rein ourselves in after 2 or 3 episodes. We were texting in the background going, we need to stop doing this now. We've took the joke too far.
We did. It was those, everybody gets a group erection. Suddenly, yeah. Very good.
Imagine if we were still playing that out when Joel and Lex were.
Well, luckily, the Star Touch Crystal had gone by that point.
Yeah.
So, I think I loved what you did with that at the end as well. Used that as the catalyst for bringing the sigil to all of you, essentially, and not just one of you. And that being that sort of central focal point. Look, we've got this. Can we use it? And you did, and it became part of the sigil, which are probably also why it changed slightly.
Mm-hmm.
I think second to that for me has got to be Jules' cape, because the amount of time she just took her hood down and we were like, oh my god, where'd you come from?
See, I didn't want to use the cape as mine because it was so cool like that. So I am going to go with what I said before, and that was, I think, for Jewel, Misty Step was the most poignant and useful tool for her in getting out of danger, but also getting into danger. It really, I took a punt on going, this is what I want my character to be able to be and do, and I think it paid off. It was the one thing where I was like, I want to be able to do this. I looked in multiple ways of, can a rogue have it? And then obviously talked to Matt in the background. Just went, this is my one request, and I'm so glad I did. It was incredible. That was my favourite magical item.
I think one magical item I missed seeing the potential. Sorry, Matt, missed seeing the potential of.
No.
Was because obviously Tom unfortunately had to bow out. We didn't get to see Cavan wielding the Hammer of Justice.
The Hammer of Justice was a good one. Yeah.
Against the Shrouded Lord, because we needed that radiant damage, but we were gone.
I love how you've called it the Hammer of Justice, which was about as
called?
close as you could get with it being the Gavel of Equity. Which
do you know what, Danny? Don't worry. Right? Guess what I was going to call it? The Hammer of Justice. So you are all okay on that one. Like when you said that one, I was like, great, I nailed it. Awesome. I remembered it. Brilliant.
We're going to have to talk about those DM troll moments as well that we were discussing beforehand, aren't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I obviously I've homebrewed a lot of stuff. I think arguably my two favourite magic items, and I'll go to, are actually two of the items I gave out during the live show because I didn't homebrew them. I think both of them are actually from the Griffin's Saddlebag. Shout out. One of which was the spell form of Erasure, because that threw in like just one single moment where something could have happened. And the second was the Gilles Balbin blade. That blade was so OP, it was incredible, and you gave it to Callum.
Well, because we all talked about it. It was like, Jill was like, can't use it. Lex was like, don't want to use it. Edgious probably could have, but I think he'd already latched onto his
the sword. Yeah.
Is that latched onto that sword by then? I think so, maybe.
Yeah. He had the heron blade at that point.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones that 100% like if I was playing Dargon, I'd be like, mine.
Yeah, I mean the main lesson I've learned is don't give NPCs
Suri
presents.
picked it up.
Yeah, which was on point. Yeah.
Campaign 3, I am not giving out any of my resources to anyone. Player characters, NPCs,
even other players.
Yeah.
Just I'm hoarding everything. So we're going to get loot hoarders now.
Can I also give a token shout out to the Ring of Spell storing that Jewel had. Didn't realise she had it. It was so incredible. Nearly sold it to a random Ike and then never gave it to anyone. I don't think. So.
Is that still in your inventory?
I don't know whether it should be, but it is. And I'm like,
I think at one point we did trade it for a fuckload of resources from the Druids or something.
I think we did, but it was still very funny that there was that one point where I'm going, oh, I've got that. Oh my god, it's worth that much. So yeah, there was a moment when that happened.
Yeah, we did not pay much attention to monetary value of anything in this campaign.
Which
is something I need to improve. 20,000 platinum at any given opportunity. I don't know how I accrued so much wealth.
Yeah, generally. But I think it's because I got to the point like this was too hard to track. So give you all the money and then it's just not a problem.
Whereas
I think that's what we did. We sold loads of stuff, all the extra items we didn't want, and that was one of them. And that's how we ended up with like 20,000 gold.
Yeah. I do look forward to the fact that in campaign 3 I'm sure we're going to be like, you get 3 gold from this dungeon, like, oh fucking sweet.
Oh yeah.
Like, that is, or 10 gold or whatever. It's like, you got to remember that, it's like, what, a silver for a room and, a night, you know what I mean? Where we're going to be like, do you know what? Yeah, a couple of gold is great.
Unless our Dahlia goes through a recession and bread costs 5 gold now.
Well, no, my plan actually, because I think we'd made it that obviously magic is a big thing in campaign 2, so magic items are significantly cheaper. Being quite candid, campaign 3 is going to go back to standard D&D prices, so I'm going to use the base sort of item cost just to make it easier on myself, because I did not set myself an easy task doing that in a campaign without fully understanding the cost of every single fucking item in the book.
And I also looked forward to being in the double digits and some of episodes before we even have a whiff of a magic weapon. And so it's going to have to be that, is it, are you hitting with a magical weapon or not? And hopefully the answer for most of us will be no. It's going to be, something fun.
Absolutely. Any questions for me, gents? This is time to ask the GM those questions that you never got answered.
Yeah.
Why, Matthew? Why?
Because I love fucking with you, mate.
Obviously, you gave us a path of, 3 paths at the end.
Yes.
Is there any path midway through the campaign, at the end of the campaign, that you wanted us to take? I know that the answer will be that we're there to take whatever paths, but was there something where you were like, would have been cool for us to do that?
Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think there's been moments where I've given you choices. You've either made the choice I wanted in that moment, or I've just gone, you've made that choice, that's where we're going. Not off the top of my head can I think of a moment where I've gone, oh, that would have been really cool if you'd gone down that route. Generally, when I've given you choices,
there's
you've
been nothing
surprised
where you've been like, oh, this door, and we've gone, nope. There's been nothing like that.
I don't think I've ever given you guys a choice where you've just gone left or right. I give you a left or right, and you go up or down.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Like, you always find a different route. I mean, you've only got to look at things like getting the codex pieces as well, and the decisions that were made at every single point on that journey. Arguably, one of the funniest bits of choice I've given you was the plane of travel, and giving you these air currents that all you had to do was step into and float, and every one of you going, I don't trust this, I'm going to do something stupid. So we had parachute coat, we had all sorts of shit going on. So I think I love those moments where, in fact, they're probably the moments where the choice is simple, it's left or right, and you decide to go up.
Yeah, because we are a walking trope.
Generally, I love giving you doors that are unlocked as well, because the amount of suspicion in an unlocked door in D&D is fantastic.
100%, it's brilliant. Can I ask a question? And that is, what happens to the 2 individuals that we saved in Cavan's arc? That were the 2 teenagers. One was partly turned.
You mean the 3 teenagers?
Was it 3 teenagers? What happened to them?
3 teenagers.
We
yes.
sent them off to Stonebark.
You did, and who knows? Because that is something that I very much plan to have in my back pocket as a D&D mini-series for the Adventures of.
Nice.
ABC, awesome. Where you guys essentially get to play those characters. Because one is, and I would give you those characters. It'd be the only time I would ever go, here's a pre-made character sheet. I want to see what you do with it.
Yeah.
It's one of them was basically Hellboy by the end of it, wasn't he?
Pretty much.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. Like, it is now officially an infernal sorcerer.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
I think my question is, how far away? So when you had an inkling of an idea for what this campaign would be, when you were plotting out potential stories, when you originally were, when it was a fledgling idea, how far away from your original kind of ending did we actually get? Because I know we kind of did the ending. You did the ending before we did it, if you get what I mean. But early on, where you thought it would end up, how far away from that did we end up?
I didn't have an ending.
Okay.
I had not planned that far in advance.
That's the right way to do a D&D campaign.
I had planned our first arc, which was Thalyssa.
You had the Shrouded Lord as a bad guy, right, though?
The Shrouded Lord didn't come through as a bad guy till much, much later, when certain things had started to happen, and I then my thinking went down a certain route, and because you'd taken the campaign down a certain route as well. Now, it still happened fairly early on, because I started introducing that character in Morse Tacey, for example, I think. So, yeah, I think if you think about those first 20 or so episodes, I did not have an ending in mind.
Oh, Steve
I knew
sent
where I
question.
thought the campaign was going to go. Oh, very good. But yeah, I knew I had a thought of where the campaign was going to go from what you guys wanted to do. The end, I was always going to have shaped by what you did in the moment.
We've got Steve on WhatsApp group calling in. What was the most surprising character development that caught you off guard or went in the most different direction than you was expecting?
Oh, Steve coming in with the hard questions. I mean, I've kind of already said Lex's, which was that moment at the end where you just went, nah, fuck you. Oh, most surprising character development that caught me off guard.
If I can go while you're thinking about it, and that was,
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. I was really surprised that Edgious, really weird way to say this, but that Edgious didn't die when he died. When we were trying to get, I can't remember what part of the Eclipse Codex it was now, but when he died and he saw his family, that he didn't go.
When he came back.
He came back. So it was, to me, the most surprising, because he really had gone, Edgious was really on this, like, this streak of, like, I'm going to go. And it was quite crazy, but also interesting. Like I said, it brought this dynamic in. It brought in his renewed desire to take Klein out. And it was just a surprise.
Yeah, I think I've got a few then, having had that time to think. If I try and go through all the characters, I think we've said Lex's. Obviously, the endings are fresh in mind. So Suri, in terms of that, I found these people, but I'm not going to say goodbye. Did not see that coming. Jewel is probably the one where I've got an early, much earlier moment where I thought, okay, did not see that coming. And that was when you started to get sent out on missions for the cloak. And you had the assassination mission. And yes, you totally fucked it up anyway with some really with some really bad rolls.
Such bad rolls. Yeah.
But I also wonder in the moment whether Jewel would have done it anyway.
It honestly, and
I think that's your.
Yeah, no, legitimately, I was that internal thing of like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? I was trying. I think it was even that I was trying to find a reason as to why I need to kill this individual. Now it turned out I did. They were a bad individual, but I didn't know that, and Joel didn't know that, and it was just like, so it would be of such a really interesting way, because as we found out, the Serpent's Cloak was corrupt. So how would it have gone if she'd have gained their trust? So totally, it's good and also a shame that didn't go well. That was definitely that path not taken. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I could go through all of the characters as well, but honestly, I'd probably be sat here thinking for another 10 minutes about all of those moments, because there's so many that you've thrown at me. Edgious has just been a roller coaster from start to finish, being a loon 1 minute and then arguably a harder hitting character than most in those next moments. Just the dichotomy of Edgious is something special. Kevin, I have to say, with all due respect to Tom, has been the most grounded character we've had in terms of just, this is who he is, this is what he's about, and he's stuck to that the whole way through.
I think I was going to say Kevin's development from a rageful guy to a kind of, he was a bit more calm, cool and collected to the end and didn't rage as much as he used to, but it was more controlled rage rather than I've lost my temper, if you get what I mean.
That's a very good description.
That one didn't surprise me, if I'll be really honest. It didn't surprise me. I feel I saw that one coming a little bit more, and that might just be because I knew Kevin's backstory.
As I say, it was his arc.
And Tom and I discussed. Yeah. So I could see that. I think from a player perspective, maybe you don't see that. Somebody says, I'm going to be a barbarian, and you think, oh, here we go, fucking rage monkey.
The fact that he was able to play the calm rage was good. It's hard to do that. That is very difficult. Yeah.
I love that as a rage mechanic as well, because you've got everybody that does the whole grog. I would like to rage.
Yeah.
Whereas that moment, it's almost like a Daredevil moment, isn't it? That person who just in the background then silently twists and becomes an absolute killing machine.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. Amazing.
Internal rage.
Internal rage. I think that might be it then. I've got no more questions for you, because
final best moment from Cavern is his unyielding desire to ride a Brachiosaurus.
Oh, yeah,
Stegosaurus absolutely refused to hear anything other than "I will train and ride one of these."
Would not do anything.
Absolutely,
I am going to train this dinosaur.
Yeah. So that came up.
Final question then from me to finish off this campaign 2 in celebration. What are you most looking forward to about campaign 3?
TPKs all round.
Cool.
I'm going to give a potentially very boring answer, and that is our interest in doing it much longer form. By that I mean we will have much more in-game time, skips. We will have that place to potentially come back to call home instead of being the nomadic party. We tried in campaign 2 to be like, oh, we're gonna have this base, and then we're like, no, we're gonna have this base, and then we spend a day in each one. The Bastion finally becoming that. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing that dynamic, which is, I don't want to give too much away. It's just going to open up so many opportunities for us to bring in ideas of our own and also return to some very basic D&D ideas, which are good and there for a reason. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's the catalyst to what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's going to be doing the complete polar opposite of what we did for campaign 2. So we're talking street level crime, thinking about Daredevil and like that sort of feel to it. We're not going up against gods. We're going up against like people traffickers, arms dealers. You know, that sort of level of boss, and the fact that my character will be a complete opposite.
But also the fact that we are 100% pretty much as bad as the people you just described. Like we will have no morals except for does it pay me? Whereas
anti-heroes.
Yeah. I can't work out from Danny then when he says total polar opposite from Lex whether that's going to be a crybaby or a stoic killing machine. Yeah.
I meant
you've
I'm not RP wise, personality wise. I just meant character sheet mechanic wise, as in the class and type of character I'm going to be.
Yeah. And this is what I'd use the same answer if you were to ask me from campaign 1 to campaign 2, campaign 2 to campaign 3. It'll be the same answer if you ask me campaign 3, campaign 4, which is new players, new location, new lore. Like everything is new. For the first time, I think I've given you a fully fleshed out area in terms of I've given you proper details into this continent that we're on, because it is a totally different continent. And I spent a lot of time looking at that already, because I've really got into it in terms of we as a collective decided this is the sort of campaign we wanted to run, and I've used that to then craft the continent in terms of what that means. So yeah, just looking forward to bringing new things to you, I think.
And all of our characters are called Kevin the something.
Yeah.
So we've got Kevin the Limp, Kevin the Gimp, Kevin the... No, we haven't.
You peaked at Gimp there, didn't you?
Yeah. I was like, I'll peak too soon. I can't bet a Gimp.
I don't know. Kevin the Twink. There we go.
End the call, Dave. It's only going to get worse. My brain's going.
It is. Sorry, I forgot we're doing MMU, and I've got to finish this one off. So I better press that button. I pressed it. I was like, oh my god, what do I do now? Guys, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for tuning in for this special Malt Magic Unrolled. Really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for keeping with us in campaign 2. Really, really do appreciate it. We hope that you're looking forward to campaign 3 as much as we are. We are now officially doing all that background to start campaign 3, and as you have heard, we have some one-shots, some mini-series and stuff like that in the gap, whilst we have a little bit of break from these longer form campaigns. But look forward to all of the stuff that's coming in the next couple of weeks and months. We so look forward to seeing you in next week and as well at the start of campaign 3. So we'll see you then. Cheers.